Good evening, Vegas sports fans. I'm Rob Hefner, aka Vegas Rob, with the Vegas sports scene live on the Out of the Box Sports Network. And with me, as always, now my co host, Ken Fry. How's it going tonight, Ken?
Very good, buddy. Very good. How are you?
Very, very, very good. The heat
Staying
is
cool?
the heat is still on out here in the desert.
The
It'll be
heat
out.
is on.
Oh yeah, it'll be out here at least for the next month. Like I
Yeah,
was saying earlier today, it usually cools down sometime in late September, early October. And when I say cool down, that's about down to 80, so it's a little more bearable. But yeah, life is good. Everything's good.
excellent. Good.
But yeah, definitely. Let's get into some Raiders talk. Let's talk about this crowded running back room that we have. There's certainly a lot of people in the room, and it's going to be interesting when training camp progresses here and they start making the final cut downs, because you've got 8 people in the running back room. Well, 7 running backs and a fullback. So
Yep.
it's definitely going to be interesting. So let's get right into it. Obviously, we have Josh Jacobs. Now we know he's not going anywhere. We know he is projected to go into camp as the starter and probably will remain number 1 on the depth chart. But where do you see this running back room going with Kendrin Jake or Kendrin what's the guy's name from
Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake from the
Yep.
Cardinals. Do you see him coming back and being productive off of his injury that he had last year in week 13?
Right now he's rehabbing. I think he had surgery back in December, but I think it was a pretty nasty ankle injury, if I remember correctly. Ankle or knee got rolled up on. It was pretty nasty looking, and so I think I don't know if he'll be ready for the start of the season, but I think once he's ready, I think he'll make a really big contribution, because Jacobs, they're going to have to feed Jacobs the ball a lot. I've said this before. They're going to have to feed him, but he's going to need to be spelled also, because you don't want your horse running back getting hurt early, especially early on. You have a long season. You want to be able to spread that out. And but the Raiders do better when they're feeding Jacobs the ball. But he's going to need spells, and Kenyon Drake is there. And as long as he's healthy, he'll be the go-to guy at the 2 spot.
Yeah, I mean he was pretty productive last year. Before the injury.
Yeah.
Especially from a coming out of the backfield. Even as a receiver, he was pretty
Yep.
productive. So he is definitely going to be interesting to watch, and I believe he will be a contributor.
Yeah, he's your more of like a slasher type running back, where you have Jacobs, pound, pound, pound. Then you have Kenyon Drake coming there, nice slashing moves, like you said, catches well out of the backfield. So that they complement each other really well. Paul Spencer says, I actually think Zamir White will get touches too. Absolutely. That's the rookie that we drafted out of Georgia. And
Yeah.
I think he'll be the 3rd running back, even though we got Bolden from the Patriots. He came along with Josh McDaniels from New England. Bolden, great receiving running back, very knowledgeable in the system, great locker room presence. But I think Zamir White, once he gets rolling, I think he's gonna see a lot more touches.
Yeah, and Ken, I do have to agree with you on Zamir White. Being the number 3. I mean, I watched this kid play when he was with Georgia.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's just a physical power back. So
that's what they're projecting him as, Rob. They're projecting him as like a big smash mouth kind of guy, a short yards guy. Now, Rob, you watch a lot of Raiders stuff. Be out there in Las Vegas. How many times do we have short yardage? 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and we got to pass a damn ball. You know what I mean? So having a smash mouth guy like that, something big, bruising,
if I had $1 for every time we were in that situation, Kenny, I wouldn't have to work anymore.
Yeah. Me neither. Probably toss them my way too.
Yeah,
It doesn't happen that
absolutely,
often.
absolutely.
So once Samir, Paul Spencer, he had 900 yards at Georgia at a loaded backfield as well. Yeah, so it's Georgia, no slouch, defending national champions, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And he also, during his career at Georgia, was pretty productive on special teams as well. So,
Yeah.
he could certainly contribute. Certainly contribute there.
I think he has some speed. I think he is 4.40. I have yeah 4.40. So I mean he's not a lumbering smash mouth guy. He has some speed to him too. So and he catches the ball a little bit out of the backfield, not a whole lot, but he had like Paul said, almost 900 yards rushing, and that's huge for a loaded backfield that he already had at Georgia.
Yeah, I do. I see him being very successful, and definitely coming in and making an impact. Like I have said in other shows, and like we said last week. He is a rookie, so the Raiders are kind of in a nice spot where they don't have to rely on this rookie class. But I think he definitely is going to come in, and make a definite impact right away among the running backs. Now, you mentioned Bolden Bolden as well.
Yeah, Brandon Bolden,
and he can catch a lot of screen passes. There's a lot of things that he could maybe do in short yardage situations. So I think he's gonna make the team, not only because he's a McDaniels guy, but he also brings a veteran presence to the locker room, and has the Super Bowl experience, and knows the kind of culture that McDaniels is going to want to run and bring in here. And he'll be that veteran presence that will kind of guide the younger ones through this period of what I would call a transition in Raiders football, because this is a whole new regime, whole new era, and it's going to be good to have him coming in to be an asset to the young guys.
And that's what Josh Jacobs. I don't know if he's signed long term. I think they're exercising the option on him or something like that. Like this, this is kind of like a show me kind of year, to kind of prove it, to get your big contract. So he's gonna need advice and leadership from somebody like Bolden to kind of, hey, this is what Josh is looking for. This is what you need to do just to get coached up quicker. So he's doing what Josh wants to do.
Right. And this is definitely a prove it year for Jacobs. Absolutely. He he's on his way to being an elite running back in the NFL, but also too, the Raiders have to get him the ball.
Yeah. Well, and you know what it reminds me of a little bit, Rob, is when Darren McFadden was with the Raiders. I mean, he was always on the verge of being a Pro Bowler, a top tier type running back in the NFL, and it either was injury or the Raiders being down 40 points by the second quarter, where he's just not getting the ball. So I think if they can play good football, get leads, feed him the ball, run clock, I think he's going to have a terrific year. And with Kenyon Drake, spelling him every once in a while, and Zamir White. I think back to Brandon Bolden, he's a terrific pass catcher. So I think he's going to see a lot of third down type stuff, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 6s, 3rd and long, stuff like that, catching out of the backfield.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with you, on that one. There's also a young kid that was drafted out of UCLA, Britton Brown.
Yeah.
He actually started his collegiate career at Duke. He was there for 3 seasons, and put up pretty good numbers. At Duke. So he's another one. That may be able to come in and make an impact. But
they also picked up Amir Abdullah too from
yeah,
Carolina. That's another veteran running back. He's been around for quite a few years. Didn't have a whole lot of production in Carolina. There's a couple running backs ahead of him there. McCaffrey and stuff.
I could actually see him. I could actually see him getting cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, somebody's gonna have to get cut, Rob.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, it's like you said, it's loaded to the gills with running backs.
Yeah, you can't keep everybody.
No, and it's good for the preseason. It lightens the load on everybody, so they're not getting overworked. But you know who your workhorses are going to be,
right?
Barring something crazy or injuries or something like that. Yeah, I wouldn't expect Amir Abdullah to make the roster, but it's for preseason training camp and stuff like that. It's good to have guys like that around.
And then Jacob Johnson, a fullback out of he actually spent 3 years with the Patriots.
Yep.
And then he played football in some kind of a German league. And then when he was in college, he started out with the university. Well, he went to the University of Tennessee, and he started his collegiate career as a linebacker before he transitioned to tight end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's another Patriot guy. He knows Josh McDaniels and stuff, the system. I didn't know about the German thing, Frankfurter football, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't even
football.
I didn't even really know that that they had like their own football league over there, but
I had no idea either.
Yeah, but that's one of the things, when you start doing research, you start looking at stuff. You learn stuff every day, no matter how long you've been a fan. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Germans got a football league. Good for them.
Yeah, not nice for them, but yeah, it's definitely loaded. So do you potentially see anybody else being cut from this group of running backs before training, before we really get into training camp and know what's what? And anybody else on that list that we went over?
Like I said, the other rookie running back, Britton Brown, maybe him dropping down to practice squad or special teams or whatever.
Yeah,
but I think our top 4 guys are pretty well set with Josh, Kenyon Drake, Zamir White, and Brandon Bolden. Sharing reps, in different situations and stuff like that. I think that's going to be it. I don't, like you said, I don't think Amir Abdullah is going to really make the cut. And the fullback. Again, it's hard to say with fullbacks now. They always seems like the most they get is special teams, which is unfortunate because fullback could be a really important position. We've seen it in the past. So
sure,
you get a good athletic fullback that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, we had Zach Crockett a few years ago, which was terrific out of the backfield. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler, until he got hurt, and we kind of moved on from him.
Yeah. So, definitely that it's going to be interesting to watch and see how this all unfolds. It's a pretty nice feeling to have all this talent, and we're not scratching our head thinking, well, what are they gonna do here? Especially at running back, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 guys, because we can't keep everybody. But
no.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to add on the running backs?
No. I think we pretty much touched it all. I as long as we keep our top 2 guys healthy, I think we're gonna have a great year running the ball. As much as people are gonna be looking at the passing and stuff, with all the moves that we've made, and with Waller and Hunter Renfro and stuff and Devontae Adams. Everybody's looking at the passing. That's where I think our running is just going to sneak up and bite everybody in the ass. It's really going to get them.
Yeah, that's
true. We're gonna pass the ball to run. I think how they say run the ball to open up the pass. I think we'll pass the ball to open up the run, and in the long run, that will help with even more passing.
And then yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can't load the box against our team.
Right.
You load the box, that's going to leave somebody one-on-one, and we have too many deep threats. Devontae and Hunter. They the way Hunter runs routes it's just absolutely amazing. But you get him free, he's gone. Darren Waller running up the post, they are flag passes. It's going to be a huge year for our offense.
And then when Carr and Adams start lighting it up,
yeah,
look out.
And absolutely, I expect big things from them, and they're going to have to if we're going to be successful.
And I think I saw today that Drake is going to be ready to go. He did report to camp on time, and it looks like he's going to be ready to go. I read something during the week that I think even his doctor expected that he was going to be fully recovered and ready to go by the start of the season.
And so I read he was rehabbing and stuff, and everything was going on as scheduled. I wasn't sure if they had a timeline or whatever for him to be back yet or not.
Well, we need all of our people healthy, to start the season off in Los Angeles against those LA Chargers, man. That's probably going to be the game of the week that week.
Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know if that's a primetime game or not. Do you know if that is? So it's judging off the finish from last season, there's some bad blood, and that last game last year to get into the playoffs was just absolutely bonkers. So you expect more of the same, and maybe even more. It's because that Charger team team's awesome.
I sat here on the edge of my seat, and
what's up, Patrick Bernard?
Hey, what's going on, Pat? You can check Patrick Bernard out on Devereaux Sports, and those guys over there, they have a lot of good shows over there as well. And Pat always checks in on our shows too, so we want to give those guys over at Devereaux a little love. But what do you think of the rest of the draft class, Ken? And what kind of an impact they're gonna make maybe this year?
Well, so as you know, our first pick wasn't until the third round this year. We took a guard out of Memphis, Dylan Parham. I'm not sure. As Paul Spencer says, with drafting starting in the third round, Parham a plug and play guard, and Zamir a solid committee running back. I agree 100%. I was just getting ready to say that. Yeah, I expect Parham to not be a starter, but a kind of guy that's going to rotate in. You see a lot of teams do that now to keep their linemen fresh and from injury, is they'll rotate guys through, throughout the games and throughout the weeks and stuff like that. So I expect Parham to make an impact. I expect Zamir White to make an impact in the running back room. But I also expect the kid from LSU, Neil Farrell, defensive tackle, big. He lined up at nose lock. Big dude, big run stopper. And like I said, when I was on Paul a few weeks ago, one of the bugaboos of the Raiders have always been stopping the run.
Yep.
And
he's gonna be able to plug up some of them lanes. Definitely.
He's a big dude. Yeah, he's a big dude. Athletic. Yeah, super strong. Takes a lot of double teams. So we're gonna need him if we're going 3-4. The 3 down lineman, the 4. Paul Spencer said he's an old school nose tackle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
If we're going to 3-4, like I've been reading, you need that kind of nose tackle that's going to clog up that middle. It's then for your linebackers to fill in the gaps and make the tackles. You don't usually see your defensive tackles, nose guards, or tackles getting a lot of tackles or anything like that. That's usually your linebacker's job. You take bodies, hold them up, and your linebackers make the plays. And that's where Neil Farrell, that's where he's going to come in huge at. He's going to he's going to take up a lot of room. He's going to take up bodies, double teams, and our linebackers are going to have solid numbers at the tackle spot.
Yeah, I think that we're going to be able to rotate. you know, our players in, but
Yeah,
you know, it will be interesting. It will be interesting to watch. And yeah, I mean, like we said, he's a big dude. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching him. You know, clog up the lanes. You know, for us, and you know, definitely it's gonna be phenomenal to just watch him play, because I watched him play a little bit with LSU, and I was
yeah.
very impressed with what he was able to do.
A big mean guy. That's what you want in the middle there, and that's what he is. We also got a defensive tackle in the fifth round from Tennessee, Butler. So he could potentially fill in a little bit. You know, I don't know a whole lot about him, but you know, playing big time football at Tennessee. You know, I think he was a 4-year player. So you know, that's
Yeah,
another guy that can rotate on the defensive line. And again, with the big dudes like that getting banged around a lot, you want to rotate some sort of rotation to give some spells there. And I think he'll do well.
yeah. The Raiders wire on USA Today actually gives the Butler pick an A+.
So
So,
I mean, there you go. It's if they say so, I agree with them.
well, I don't always agree. I don't always agree with the media, because they also stated that we shouldn't have drafted Zamir White. They like totally disagreed with drafting him. Um, you know, but I don't know. I mean, that he's just a beast. It's like, you know, you got to get these players, while you can. You,
Absolutely. Go ahead, Rob.
I was saying to Celeste, my significant other, you know, she's not really a sports person, but I said, you know, when you're doing a show like we're doing here weekly, you know, you're constantly looking at things. You know, you're looking at. I have started to watch, you know, like highlight films from YouTube, and it's like, you know, some of these people, like in the mainstream media, sometimes you have to scratch your head and wonder, you know, what are these guys looking at? Because when I look at a guy like Zamir White, this guy is just a beast. I mean, he's physical, and you know, able to do some things, you know, on special teams as well. So it's
Yeah,
just it's very crazy sometimes what they come up with, and you know, what comes out of their mouths. But you know, maybe too, Ken. What do we know? We're just a bunch of passionate, you know,
yeah.
opinionated fans.
And then that's the thing about the show. We're fans. You know, we're fans,
Yeah,
and that's we want to talk about the Raider football and Las Vegas sports. And so, like Paul Spencer said, you know, when somebody like Zamir falls to you, you take, you know, that's the best player available. You take him. You know, and
sure.
that's what it was. I did see. I was looking last night. I was looking at, you know, trying to bone up a little bit, and I did see some news agencies giving it a B. You know, to take Zamir. I seen the one gave it an F. Like what do they know that these guys don't know? Or so
Yeah,
I didn't really understand it either.
yeah,
But you know what? Sometimes it's just not really understanding the system. You know, like what's going to happen, like with the new system coming in, with Josh McDaniels coming in with a new system. You know, you don't know what to expect really. You know, what's he going to want to do? Because if you have to figure he's going to want to do something different than he did the first time with the Denver Broncos. It's going to be more like what the Patriots were doing, I would assume, but maybe
right.
just a little bit different. Maybe he was handcuffed a little bit by Bill a little bit. You know, you don't do this, do this. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Zamir might be the steal of the draft. You know,
Right.
we're
And
just gonna have to wait and see on that.
that's the thing with some of these draft picks. You know, they might take a couple of seasons maybe to
Yeah,
materialize, and you know, to know their true value. But you know, I was saying to you know, Celeste, my significant other, you know, I relate it back to the uh Michael Jordan story, the general manager that took Sam Bowie instead of Michael Jordan back in the day. Now he's passed on now and everything, but I guarantee you for years he probably kicked himself for not taking Michael Jordan.
Well, he kicked himself. The owner kicked him. Then the
Right,
fans
right.
kicked him. Then the other players kicked him. He got kicked a
Yeah.
lot.
So I mean, out of this whole draft, in your opinion, is there anything you would have liked to have seen the Raiders do differently than what they did?
I wanted them to go defense. They went defense. I was happy with it.
Yeah.
They made a lot of changes at offensive line in the offseason. So going offensive line with their first pick, which is a 3rd round pick, I was cool with that too. But then getting the defensive tackles, a 4th round and 5th round after Zamir White, I was happy to see that. We need lots of defensive help, young bodies in there. So I was very happy with the draft this year. Maybe a secondary guy, but
yeah,
I was cool with it.
I was relatively pleased with what they did as well. I honestly thought we would have seen them maybe draft a linebacker or a cornerback, maybe.
And that's why I was thinking secondary a little bit. Like my hope watching the draft, because I knew they didn't have a pick to the 3rd round. Watching the draft when their pick came up, I was hoping for a safety, free safety, something in that area, just something defensive back. But they went, guard, so it was what it was. But I was happy with it. I was overall as a whole, I was pleased.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am so pumped to get the season started. What is it like? What is it like 49 days now or something like that?
Yeah, I just looked the other day, and I think the other day when I looked, it said 52. So it has to be under 50 now.
Yeah, I have to definitely get to a Raiders game out here. I'll be calling up Joey Sullivan, from Devereaux Sports as well, and he checks into our shows, quite a bit.
Just about every week,
too. Yeah. And he's got his own show over there on Devereaux Sports called the Sully Squad. So he talks a lot of Philly sports. So tell your Philly sports friends, to check him out because he's a good guy. Because I had him on once or twice. We talked Raiders, before you officially came on board, and actually we might have him in for a show. As training camp, comes to a close, or as training camp gets heated up, we might have him in, with us on a show because he can bring a lot of perspective, too. So definitely.
Our boy Paul Spencer said, "Think about it. You got the best wide receiver, Devontae Adams, in the NFL for a 1st and 2nd round draft pick, and I would take that 100 times out of 100."
Oh,
every day, all day.
Absolutely. That was quite a blockbuster, move they were able to, pull off. And
I mean, as long as he doesn't Randy Moss us, I think we'll be fine. You remember Randy Moss when he became a Raider?
Yeah.
So as long as he ain't out there half-assing it or not running his routes or just being a pain in the ass, I think we'll be fine.
Well, I think the fact that him and Derek Carr, were college teammates, if he starts to do that kind of stuff, I think Carr is going to be on his ass.
And Devontae doesn't seem like that kind of dude. He seems like a straight-up guy.
Yeah.
You never heard anything bad about him out of Green Bay.
No.
So, yeah.
I was honestly surprised, that he left Green Bay, but when you had to re-sign a guy like Rodgers, there again.
Well, so Rob, here, let me ask you this question. When Devontae left, did you think Rodgers was going to stay?
I honestly, I didn't know. I didn't know what to think because at that point, when you lose a receiver, like that, you think, well, what do they have, or what do I have, but I guess when they offered him the contract that they did, he decided he was going to stay. So
now I'm not sure if they signed Rodgers first, then got rid of Devontae, but you think he would have been, had some sort of knowledge that might have happened. Like I was really surprised that Rodgers stayed in Green Bay with Devontae leaving. I was really surprised. I thought he would have been somewhere, somewhere else. There was some talk about him going to Las Vegas, which I wasn't. Paul Spencer's. I thought he was gone. Rodgers signed first. 1 week later, Adams traded. Yeah, and that's what I think it was. I think Rodgers signed, and Adams was traded. And I'd have to believe that Rodgers knew something like that could have happened, and that's why it was so surprising. He signed, and then they traded Devontae. Like it's, knowing that was going to happen, I just would have figured he would have ended up somewhere else.
Yeah, like he because he was looking at possibly going quite a few places.
Yeah, Las Vegas, Denver.
Yeah.
Was there Seattle talk? I don't remember.
I
know Las Vegas and Denver were two big ones.
Yeah. I don't know that Seattle was in the mix when it came to Rodgers, because they were still trying to figure out whether Russell Wilson was staying or going. But yeah, I mean the NFL is it's a crazy business, man. It's going to be interesting as we progress. Here in Vegas, how that is going to attract big name free agents, because I can only imagine people wanting to come here and live here for most of the year. I mean, not only for the city and the area itself, but there's no state tax here in Nevada. So, from a business standpoint, for these guys, when you're making millions of dollars, I mean, you have to look at that. You have to look at that too. And then of course, you have the wife, you have the girlfriend aspect. They want to live in a place where they can have a good time and go shopping.
Yeah. The wife back in Maryland and the girlfriend in Las Vegas, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works too. Believe me, I've seen some crazy stuff.
Paul Spencer said, if Rodgers went to Miami with those weapons, wow, that's a turnaround. Now he has nothing, lost 2 starting wide receivers. Yeah, Miami's they're looking pretty good too. I think Rodgers will be fine. He won't be fine like he was, MVP last year, but I think he'll still be, top of the NFC Central over there, or North, NFC North.
So, Ken, what do you think of Mark Davis presenting Cliff Branch into the Hall of Fame? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that. It's been made very clear that the Davis family, it's once a Raider, always a Raider. And quite honestly, I'm surprised that it's taken the Hall of Fame this long to elect the poor man.
It's ridiculous. I talked to Paul about this a couple of weeks ago. It's insane that somebody like that goes that long without being elected to the Hall of Fame. But I was surprised when I heard Mark Davis is presenting Cliff Branch. Like you said, the Davis family, they once you're a Raider, are always Raider. They always treat Raiders good. Whether it be the best of the best or your bottom guy, you're always a Raider to them. I said that to Paul. Cliff would always work at practices, always coaching the guys up and stuff. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I think Al Davis, I could be wrong. It happens from time to time, Rob. But I think Al Davis might have the record for presenting at the Hall of Fame, or something really close to that. He's presented several Raiders that have gone in from those teams, those awesome teams in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not surprising at all. Adam Glenn says, "Are you worried about the Chiefs? Andy Reid is a great coach."
No, I honestly think the Chiefs are, and you and I have talked about this off the air, Ken, and I think we've even talked about it on the show here.
We have, yes.
I think that I think the Chiefs are going to take a step back. I really do. Now, Andy Reid, in terms of being a great coach, I'll I'll admit, I'll be the first to admit, I am an Andy Reid guy. You know, he spent his part of his career in Philadelphia, and then came to the Chiefs. So yeah, I was happy when Andy won his Super Bowl. I don't question his uh, greatness as a coach, but I just think that the Chiefs are going to take a step back. I mean, they have Mahomes, but everybody else in the division has gotten better.
Yep.
So
We like you said, we've talked about it, Rob, and I believe that they'll be the ones left out of the playoffs this year. Have three teams out of the West in the playoffs this year. So I think they're out, but I don't think I don't think they'll be down for long. I see them back again next year. Andy will figure it out, and I think they'll be back. Patrick Mahomes. They played a lot of games over the last couple of years between the playoffs and stuff. Right. So it's take a year off. Take a year off, Chiefs. Relax, kick back. We got this.
Right. It is. It's going to be real fun. It's going to be real fun to watch. I will definitely be glued to the TV, watching this division for sure, watching the NFC East too. I mean, let's put it this way, during football season, when there's a game on, it's on my TV, no matter who's playing.
Yeah. It's going to be fun this year, no matter who they're playing.
Yeah, definitely. From an NFL standpoint, Ken, did you have anything else that you wanted to add? How about Rosen being signed by the Browns? Did you see that? He got signed.
I did, yeah. That dude has been everywhere.
Yeah.
From being drafted and then done dirty by the Arizona Cardinals, he's made his trips around the NFL, and he's not sticking anywhere. So it kind of tells you something's missing there. So yeah. There was some talk about Jimmy G heading out to Cleveland. That's something that we touched on last week.
Yeah,
I think Paul commented on our show about it. What about Jimmy G to Cleveland? And that's something that I could have seen. Now I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, and I saw this week as well that his agents were granted permission by the 49ers to seek a trade. So I mean,
I hear a lot about that. Yeah,
that could possibly happen. But see, here's the thing with Cleveland and their quarterback situation. They've got so much money wrapped up in quarterbacks. With Deshaun, you don't know if he's going to play, and then they're paying part of Baker Mayfield's contract. That was part of the trade for him to go to Carolina. Now they're paying this Rosen guy. I don't know exactly what they're paying him.
I don't think it's a lot. I think it's probably still a couple million or something like that. But for a quarterback, it's not a lot.
But then if you bring Garoppolo into the deal, how much are they going to pay? How much are they going to pay him? That's a lot of money wrapped up in quarterbacks that aren't playing for your team potentially. I mean, that's crazy.
So Rob, listened to ESPN earlier this week on my way home from night shift. I listened to the Jay Will, Keyshawn, and Max show in the morning on ESPN. I'll listen to it for a couple minutes on my way home from work, and they were talking about whoever the host was that day. Because I think the guys were out. They were talking about rumors that they heard that Deshaun might not even get a a full year suspension. He might get a 8-game or less suspension. Okay. I think that's insane. If that's how it goes, I'd be really shocked. I expect him not to play at all this year, and rightfully so. I mean, it wasn't one girl, it wasn't two girls. It was 25.
He ended up settling with 32 women. I mean,
it was honestly, it's insane, Rob.
Yeah, it really is when you stop to think about it. It's just nuts.
And when I heard that, as flabbergasted. Are you serious? 6 games for the guy? dude, just yeah, I ain't gonna. I don't want to
Yeah.
say what I want to say, but
Well,
it was shocking.
you know, I have an idea what you want to say, but we'll try to keep it a family show as
We'll
best we
keep it a
can.
family show.
We'll try.
I got my daughter sitting here over my shoulder giggling at me, so I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I feel the same way. That you do about that. We're from the same area, Ken. We
Yeah,
pretty our values probably pretty. They line up with that we we're from the same area, so we probably think the
yeah,
same way, and a lot of different things. But yeah, we'll keep it a family show in the interest of for our ratings and our many fans that we're going to be having here as we start to grow.
we're gonna grow that.
Definitely.
We're gonna grow that fan base. Paul Spencer checks in and says, "Rosen, 1 year, 1.2 million." Yeah, I didn't think it was too much. Actually,
Okay.
that's a lot less than I thought. I was thinking like 5 or 6, but yeah, 1.2 million. That's in today's NFL. That's chump change. I mean, to be honest with you, any of us would love it, but in the NFL, that's chump change now.
Well, I could pay off my house and probably quit my current job and maybe do this full time if I had that kind of money.
I'd buy a golden toilet first, a solid
Oh,
gold toilet, Rob.
what is your house? Schuylkill County's version of Trump Tower.
That's what it would be. Yes, it would be.
So, what do you
Paul
think
Spencer, hang on. Paul Spencer says I could find a cure for this damn COVID. Yeah, Paul Spencer, our boy
Yeah.
Paul's feel a little bit under the weather with COVID. Get well soon, Paul. With 1.2 million, you can find a cure for COVID. Yeah.
Well, here in Las Vegas, you can find a cure for anything.
I'm sure you can.
But going around the NFL a little bit, what do you think of Carson Wentz with Washington, and how many games do you think he'll actually play this year before he becomes sidelined with some sort of injury, because this guy has been pretty injury prone his NFL career. I mean, what are your thoughts on him?
I like Carson Wentz. I did Carson Wentz, like you said. Me being in Pennsylvania, I'm close to Philly. I have a lot of Philly fans, and I was really bummed when he didn't pan out the way everybody was hoping. Like, he had that awesome season before he tore his ACL, and it was such a bummer to see the way things went for him. Then going to Indianapolis, I'm like, all right, fresh start for Carson. Seems like a decent dude. And then it did not go well there, which I was surprised. It seemed like it started off decent. They had a really good record. They were heading towards the playoffs. I think they have a Super Bowl ready team, and it didn't work out. So now in Washington with the Commanders.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a good season, good enough to make a difference. I don't think so, but I think he'll stay healthy this year. I think it's going to be a good year for Carson, a good prove it year. I think maybe next year is more. I think I'd like to see Washington like really make a move and maybe contend for the East.
Well, I was actually at that game where he tore his ACL in Los Angeles. I was actually at the game with Dave Strausser. You remember Dave Strausser?
Yep, I remember our boy Dave. Yep.
Yeah, we were there, and we were like 2 or 3 rows from the field. It was the closest I ever sat at an NFL game. And yeah, to see him tear his ACL like that, we're walking out of the old LA Coliseum, and Dave and I, we were happy we won the game, but at the same time, you're thinking at what cost. And to see him go down like that, that was just heartbreaking to see that. But I also made a friendly wager with Norm Deal. You remember Norm Deal?
Yep, I remember Norm.
I said to Norm Deal that if Carson Wentz takes the Commanders to the playoffs, I will sit on our show wearing a Carson Wentz Commanders jersey.
Oh wow, there you go. That's a bet right there.
And you know what? It'll just be my luck. They'll sneak into the playoffs or something, and I'll have to go out and buy a Commanders Wentz jersey.
The Dem 215 boys said, I think Rivera only has Wentz managed games. He will be fine, but he'll only play at least 15 games.
Yeah, I could see that.
15 is still, that's a lot of games. I could see 15 games also. I hope 15 for him.
Oh, and then too, one thing I wanted to mention about Branch. The interesting thing about him, Ken, is that he actually lived out here. He actually lived out here in the area. He lived like 2 hours outside of Vegas. It's a small town called Bullhead City, Arizona. It's a real small town, and it only has one traffic light. So
that's the definition of a small town.
It's a shame that it's taken him this long to get into the Hall of Fame, and that he's not going to be here, to enjoy it. Because I've never met the guy. I've talked to some people, here in the local media that do Raider stuff now, and that they tell stories, about him, and it sounds like he remained very, very, humble. I mean, living in a town where there's one traffic light, I can't even imagine.
Oh, absolutely. That's insane, especially for, he's fairly famous, it's, celebrity and stuff like that. So yeah, it's unheard of. And I talked with Paul about it a few weeks ago. It's such a shame. They did the same thing with Snake, Kenny the Snake Stabler. Waited until he passed away before getting him. It's like, why? You're telling me he wasn't on par with those other guys in the 70s? Playing against those awesome Steeler teams and stuff like that, and all the teams that Kenny was quarterback for, all they did was win every year to the playoffs. Every year, it's why did it take so long? He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league all those years. Same thing for Cliff. He's one of the best receivers all the years that he played. Numbers on par with other guys that are in. What took so long? Tom Flores, 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders. What took so long to get that guy in? First Hispanic coach to win a Super Bowl. Still took years. Now, thankfully, Tom's still alive to get into the Hall of Fame. I think that was last year.
Yeah,
but still, it's why? Why does that take so long?
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of my biggest gripes, with the NFL and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is that they wait, like you said, they wait so long to put these guys in. I'm glad to see they're getting in now, because they certainly they certainly deserve it, and they put up the numbers in their careers to do just that. But it's like it's insane that it takes so long for some of these guys to definitely get in there. But I wanted to also talk about Bo Jackson. He's been in the actually we could have talked about that as well. I actually forgot about this, Ken, and living here in Las Vegas, I didn't know this till you mentioned this to me the other day, but former UNLV Rebels star quarterback Randall Cunningham, and of course he made a career for himself in the NFL, largely a part of the Philadelphia Eagles, and also played on a
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, pretty damn good Vikings team in 1998 with Randy Moss. He
lit it up with Randy Moss.
Oh yeah, they were quite the tandem for sure. But last year he was named the team chaplain by John Gruden. Actually, Gruden brought him in, and I was very happy about this because he is a UNLV guy. I mean, people here in Vegas, they absolutely love, Randall Cunningham. I mean, hell, I've got a Randall Cunningham UNLV jersey in my closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's not really a big story.
Oh,
But
it's interesting though.
yeah, but from a Vegas standpoint, it is, because honestly, UNLV really hasn't had a good football team since Randall was the quarterback.
No, yeah, and that's you don't hear anything about UNLV football. I mean, the basketball team had their glory years back in the 80s.
Yeah, 80s, early 80s and 90s under Tarkanian.
Yeah, Coach Tark biting on his towel and stuff like that. But Randall Cunningham being a Las Vegas guy, I was really surprised to see that. Especially, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show, about him being a team chaplain and stuff. You brought it up because he was a UNLV guy. And so I'm like, oh, that is really cool. I think it's neat when you see NFL players like that step up and take on a role such as that, and mentoring younger players, older players. And so I was really surprised to read that he was resigning his post as the team chaplain. Paul Spencer says only thing UNLV is known for is Jerry the Shark. Yeah,
absolutely.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, Paul's definitely not wrong.
Yeah.
Not wrong there. As of late, UNLV this past year, their women's college basketball team, is pretty good. They're an up and coming program, but yeah, UNLV hasn't really made national headlines really since the Tarkanian era, and then of course with Randall coming out of UNLV too, he's definitely loved by locals, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool too. I have an interesting story about Randall Cunningham. When I first came out here, my uncle's been out here for 30 plus years.
Uncle Leo.
Yeah, Uncle Leo. And I said to him, I said, one of the things I want most is an autographed Randall Cunningham jersey. Now, the thing about Randall Cunningham is it's a very, very hard signature to get because he doesn't really sign a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of signing events that he does. And my uncle says, well, how can we track him down? I said, well, he's a minister at a church over in Henderson, which is where the Raiders headquarters is and the practice, facility is. Well, the interesting thing was my uncle, he found the church, went into the church office and said, is Randall around? I have this Cunningham jersey I want signed for my nephew. Randall Cunningham comes out and he says, I don't usually do this. And he goes, oh, come on. He goes, my nephew's been a Cunningham fan since the age of 5. And then he's like, all right. He's like, give me the shirt. Randall signed it. I think my uncle gave some kind of a donation to the church and said, cool. and said, he's welcome to come and worship here as in me anytime. So I have an open invitation to go to Randall's, church. I haven't done it yet, but I might check it. I might check it out. And in fact, he was coaching high school football out here too. I don't know if he still is, but yeah, that was a cool Randall Cunningham, story. And then, when he was named chaplain of the Raiders, I thought that was really cool too. So I wish him well. It's too bad he decided, not to do it anymore, because I think he could have been a role model for, some of these younger players. You always need people to keep you in line, or at least I do. I don't know about you, but
Paul Spencer's keeping you in line. He says, Rob, Bishop Gorman is bigger than Ellie.
Hey,
UNLV.
hey, Paul is absolutely
100% right now.
100% right.
Well, Rob, here, let me ask you this: you think UNLV could wiggle their asses over to the Pac-10? Do you think, or Pac-12, whatever they are now? You think that would help them at all if they could find somehow to get themselves into that conference? Now there's a couple open spots with USC and UCLA moving on.
Yeah, I was thinking that the Pac-10, would be a solution, for them. I mean, they're playing in Allegiant Stadium, world class, stadium. You would think that the football program would be trying to, build the program up and try to make it a powerhouse. I mean, we've got I think if it's not this year, it might be next year. I think Notre Dame is coming out to play UNLV.
That's going to be huge
at Allegiant Stadium.
It's not going to be good for UNLV, but it's going to be big for the program.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not going to be a good night for the guys on the field per se, but yeah, I definitely will try to get tickets for that game if when that happens. And I know our boy Paul Spencer, he's a big Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, he says I'll be there for that Notre Dame.
And yeah, I would love to see Notre Dame play. Never had the opportunity. Hell, I would even take a trip and go back to South Bend to see him play. But here in Vegas, they've got one or two Notre Dame bars that I know of because I've gone to them and I've had some pretty interesting nights in those places.
You didn't walk in there with like a USC hat, like all those other bars. You walk into a Denver bar with the Raider hat. You walk to the Cowboy bar with the Eagle hat.
No, but it was funny because I walk in and I go in there for the Notre Dame Miami game a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago. They coined the game Catholics versus Convicts #2 or whatever.
Yeah, they're trying to hype that up.
Yeah, and I looked forward to going to that game. All week. And this is like right around the time, Celeste and I met, and she wanted to do something else that night, and I said, here's the deal. I said Notre Dame's playing Miami. I'm going to the game. I looked forward to this all week. I said you've got 10 minutes to decide whether you're coming with me or not. She decided not to. I went to the game. I went to the bar to watch the game in an Uber. And next thing you know, I end up striking up a conversation with the bartender, and I'm doing shots of either Jameson or Talmardew. And yeah, we know how that ended.
Probably not well. Or really well. I mean, depends on how you look at it, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't feel a thing.
Then it went well.
But yeah, let's get into Bo Jackson being in the news recently here. He paid for the funerals. What a man. Bo Jackson pays for shooting massacre victims' funeral cost. I mean, yeah, that was a tragic event that happened there in Uvalde, Texas, and I believe there was 22 people total that were victims of that,
19 children.
Yeah, and it's it's an unfortunate, tragic event, and I know people that have children, including yourself, and you have to be worried and concerned, especially in today's world, with everything that's going on in the world. You have to even maybe be concerned about even sending children to school in certain situations because of all the stuff that's going on. But I did see that he stepped up and volunteered to pay the expenses for the victims, and I just thought that was a good thing. And I think we need to see more of that from our athletes, because they have most of them have so much money, and it's just great to see a guy like Bo Jackson giving back, a Raiders great giving back, and two, he was was he one of the first professional athletes to play both baseball and football, or what was he the first? I'm not sure on that.
I don't know if he was the first. I know he and Deion Sanders were around the same time, so I don't know which one was first to do it. I mean, the original, the OG of it might be Jim Thorpe,
right?
Because he did both, but that's a different time. But yeah, so Bo flew into Uvalde to present them with a $170,000 check, and he did say that that's the family should be able to grieve and not have to worry about costs like that. And that is, like I said, that's horrific. Such tragic circumstances, and for him to step up like that is just it's really cool to see.
Well, and
Adam Glenn says Bo knows. Bo does know. Bo knows how to step up.
Oh yeah, he definitely does. And
Paul Spencer says it's a shame schools, churches, outings used to be a getaway for kids and families. Now you dread that call as a parent or a family member. And Rob, like you said before, I have 3 kids. 2 kids are in school, and I have a 3-year-old. And like when we were in school, you didn't hear about that stuff at all.
No,
growing up until the Colorado shooting.
Columbine.
Yeah, Columbine. That was like the first one I remember hearing about, and I was a senior, and I believe you were a junior.
Yeah.
And and then it's now with my kids, it's every month you're hearing about 1 or 2 of them. It's like I'll get an alert on my phone saying there was a threat at school. It's like, oh my God, it's usually just a threat, nothing big, but still it's.
Yeah, when we were kids, and now sitting here saying that, I feel old actually saying that. But
look at the gray.
Yeah, well, I noticed today as Celeste was shaving my head that I got a few gray hairs up there too, and it's like, are we really that old? Already old. Like seriously, but
we're not. Yeah. Rob, we're not Paul Spencer old, but we're old now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not that ancient.
We're not that age yet.
Yeah, but no, it was a much safer time. I think when we were in school, we could roam the streets.
Yeah,
we could go to a party at somebody's house, and it's just I won't say what kind of parties that we went to, because we're trying to keep this a family show, and we don't want to promote certain things, but
Paul Spencer says, wow, shots fired, 51 is young. Depends on where you're sitting at, Paul.
Yeah, I guess, because I'll sit here and laugh at that now, but like in 10 years, that's going to be me.
That's what I mean. It depends on where you're sitting at. We're not sitting there, so it's old. In a few years, that's where we're going to be sitting.
But what were your thoughts on the home run derby? I mean, I know we touched on that. We talked about that last week. I was surprised that Schwarber, he underperformed, I guess I would.
And I was expecting a lot more out of him. Adam Glenn says we are old. We are old, very old. Adam Glenn's old. So I was expecting Schwarber to just smash the hell out of the ball, but I was disappointed when he didn't. But it was cool to see Albert Pujols, move on, whatever. That's cool.
Do you think maybe he didn't perform as well in the home run derby to try to give it to Pujols out of respect for him?
We talked about that at work that night. I was talking with some Philly fans about it, and that's one of the questions they asked me. I said, I hope not, because that's kind of a crappy way to win something when you're, Pujols is still a competitor. I get it. He's there, as out of like a commissioner's pick or whatever it was, but he's still a competitor. He doesn't want to win by somebody just saying, okay, you win, you got this, you're old, whatever. So I hope that wasn't the case. And I don't think it was the case. I think it's just, some people are really good at home run derby. Some people just aren't. Schwarber's good at smashing the hell out of the ball during a game. Home run derby, maybe not so much.
Well, I called it right. I picked Soto to win it, and he won it.
Kinda. I mean, even though he had 30 less home runs than the guy that he beat, which boggles my mind. How does that kid Rodriguez from Seattle? Man, hit the first round, 30 some home runs. That was amazing. Then he goes off and he beats the two-time defending champion, my boy Pete Alonso. And it was, I'm like, I was rooting for the kid. I wanted to see him win, and to lose, but still have 20 more home runs than the guy that beat you it stinks. But that's the system that they have in place right now. It is what it is.
I actually enjoyed the home run derby more than I enjoyed the actual All-Star game itself. The All-Star game itself didn't really hold my attention, but the home run derby, I was all into that. And I think it's because we talked about it on the show. I wanted Soto, you wanted Alonso, your guy, to win it.
So like our boy Big Mike, who has the 4 for 4 locker room podcast on Wednesdays, I believe it is, right? Thursday at 8 p.m. Big Mike 4 for 4 locker room podcast. Like he was saying on his show the other day about me needing tissues for crying with lotion and stuff. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but the kid deserved to beat Pete Alonso. So
I said you had a better chance at winning a wing eating contest than the Mets do of winning a World Series.
Paul Spencer says they need to take it back to 10 outs per round, not this extra time and bonus for a 440-foot home run. Now, so here's one thing I didn't understand, Rob. So you watched the home run derby, right? You watched it?
Yeah. So
they gave the guys 3 minutes, but they automatically got 30 seconds, and they got an extra 30 seconds for two 440-foot home runs. All right. So they got 3 minutes plus an extra 30 seconds. For what? Make it 3:30 and be done with it. If you already give them 3:30, why say, okay, this is their extra 30 seconds?
Right.
For what? I don't understand. Okay, if you want to give them an extra 30 seconds for hitting some monster shots, all right, whatever. That's for the fans and stuff. But then they get a minute break here, they get a timeout here, and they really drug it on.
I was thinking the same thing, because it's pretty bad when you get up during a home run derby to go to the bathroom and you didn't miss anything.
Oh.
And I'm
not joking either. It took away from it, I think.
Yeah. How did Blankenhorn do? Speaking of the Mets, how did he do? While he was up again, did he do it? Did he do anything?
Unfortunately, he started yesterday at DH. I think he flied out his first at bat, second at bat might have struck out, and third at bat he grounded out before they subbed him for. They brought J.D. Davis in the bat last inning for him. And then today, the Mets picked up a catcher from Pittsburgh, and they designated Travis for assignment.
Right.
So, I mean, what that means for Travis, I don't know. I don't know what the hell designated for assignment means. I never do. I see it, and I just know it's not good. But I still want to see the Mets sign him. If he makes it back around to the Mets, I wanted the Mets to sign him, but
he's probably going back to the AAA affiliate Syracuse. Yeah. I would think
that's what I would hope. But I also want to see Travis. As much as I want to see him make it with the Mets, Travis being, for people that don't know who may be watching, Travis is a hometown guy from my hometown, from Rob's hometown, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Yep. Played his high school ball there. Was drafted by the Minnesota Twins, I think in the 3rd round. And he was there a couple years. Terrific kid. won multiple player of the week, player of the month, and all the different class balls that he's played in. So he jumped around a little bit out to the Dodgers for a week, to Seattle for a week before he landed with the Mets.
Yeah,
And
he was all over the place there for a while.
For a couple of weeks, it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
That's what they do with those kids in the minors and stuff. So he landed with the Mets, and just this past, he was named the International League Player of the Month last month. He was on a tear. So I was hoping he'd come up and put a show on or something, at least get a couple hits or do something. But unfortunately, so I hope it. If it's not with the Mets, I hope he catches on and gets a true legitimate shot at something.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you, regarding that. But basically, you answered my question. Yeah, we want to see our coal region boys, succeed when they, make it to the pros, definitely. So even though he's with the Mets organization, I still watch him every chance I can, and when he's up with the Mets, I will put the Mets game on, and I do take criticism for that, being a Phillies fan. But you got it. It's coal region first.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Mets, coming soon, the Bat Cave to Out of the Box Sports Network. That's going to be my show on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. bi-weekly to start. And we'll be talking some Mets and some baseball type stuff. So, and maybe some guest hosts or whatever. If Rob will be working while I'm doing that, but hopefully you'll be listening. And
I might have to, I might have to call in sick, and we'll do a show of Phillies versus Mets or something.
Yeah, and absolutely, that'd be awesome. So I can't wait to start doing that this coming Wednesday.
So are you going to be doing that? You're going to be doing that starting out yourself, and then
I'm going to start out myself
okay.
to see how it goes, and then if everything's going good, I'll keep rolling with it. If I feel like I want to bring somebody on, like I want to try to have guest hosts on and stuff like that. But with it being 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, it's going to be hard for anybody to do that, because I'm doing it right after I take the kids to wherever they have to go, like school or whatever during the school year.
Sure.
But I work night shift, so that's right before I go to bed, 10 a.m. So I'm like, I like to do a show before that, and
sure.
So I would say, why not?
Yeah,
if it's open, I'd like to try to do it.
Hey, I'll be tuning in. I'll be tuning in for sure. On our great network here. I'll be going back to work. I've been working from home for 2 years because of COVID, and then I had some medical issues that I was going through too. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I will try to do my best to catch it live, and if I don't catch it live, I can catch it on our YouTube channel that we have. And everybody out there, like and subscribe, to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, smash those like buttons, show us some love. We do this for ourselves. It's a passion for us, but we're also doing it for you, the fans, as well. So while we're on that topic, we'll go over the rest of the Out of the Box Sports Network shows. Tuesday, 10 p.m., Fight Club 215 with Paul Spencer and Joey Wood. And then on Wednesday, 9 p.m., Dem 215 boys with Paul Spencer and Matt Klein. And then on Thursday, we got Big Mike for your 4 for 4 locker room. And Saturday, 8 a.m., Out of the Ring with Joey Wood and Paul Spencer, with the occasional visit from the number one wrestling fan that I know, little Joey Joseph Wood. He's an awesome little kid. I love the fact that he is into wrestling and stuff at such a young age. It's a great show. So show those guys some support. And then of course on Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, the Las Vegas sports scene with yours truly, Rob Hefner, and Ken Fry. I know you love to see our lovely faces.
Absolutely, and like I said, on Wednesdays, starting this Wednesday, check out the Bat Cave and all your Met sports talk.
Now let me ask you a question before we sign off here. Are you going to be wearing the Batman mask?
You know what? It's a debate in my head. I'm like, maybe I'll do it for the first show, throw the mask on, but I love wearing the mask, and some people think it's a little goofy, but you know what? I'm goofy. What are you gonna do?
Because I almost wore my Batman. I almost wore my Batman shirt tonight. I have a Batman shirt. I almost wore it, but this is what I went with. It says busy doing nothing.
There you go, Rob. That's what we all should be doing. Busy doing nothing.
So all right, Ken, you have a great night. I appreciate you hopping on and still doing the show with me. I know you had a busy day with your kids and everything, and I know we have busy schedules, but yeah, we're gonna definitely do this every single week. For our fans out there, we're gonna be very dedicated to providing quality programming, and also too send us those messages on the text board, because we're going to make it an effort to read every single comment, because without you fans, we don't really have a show. It would just be Ken and I sitting here talking to ourselves for an hour. So we love and appreciate our fans, and have a great night, everybody, and we will catch you later.
Have a good night, everybody.